This meeting is being recorded.
Okay. Start letting people in. Welcome, everyone. Just be patient as I let everyone in. Make sure that you are muted. Welcome. Got a good crowd today. Okay. I think I've got everybody from the waiting room. Looks like everybody's joining.
Yep, I see.
Alrighty. All right, everyone, welcome. If I see anybody else trickling in, then I'll go ahead and let them in the waiting room, or let them out of the waiting room into this room. So welcome everyone to the board meeting for Ovation at Oak Tree. I am recording, and so if any of your neighbors happen to miss this meeting, they can go into the portal. I always, after the meeting, it takes me a little bit, maybe about an hour, to shrink it down so that it actually fits onto the portal. And I will put it on the calendar date for today's date. If you look under all of the events there, you'll see the board meeting. Click on that, you'll see the video and the agenda. And then I'll also put it under, if you look under documents, board meeting, there'll be the agenda there, and also will be the video there. So if you want to watch it again, or if your neighbors missed it and they want to watch, they can. Briefly, I'm just going to go through, and some of you guys, this is old hat, you know it, but for those of you who are new and don't, I'm just going to go over just a few little etiquette things for Zoom. At the very bottom of your screen, if you go all the way over to your left, that way, then you'll see it looks like an old-timey microphone. And so I ask that you are muted just so that we don't have a bunch of background noise. So the way to do that is right next to that little icon of an old-timey microphone, you'll see what looks like an upside down V. So click on that and mute, and then you'll see a line that goes across the microphone. And then right next to the old-timey microphone, you'll see an icon that says stop video. And so if you want to be on camera, you certainly can. If not, you don't have to be. And again, there's that little upside down V. And so if you click on that, you can either choose to be on video or not. You can blur your background. You can choose a virtual background if you want something fun behind you. And so again, I ask that everyone stay muted. We will have a period in the meeting that is a homeowner forum. And so you can enter your questions into the chat if you want to, or we can, one at a time, as long as we're all orderly, have a question period. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and give some introductions. I'm Dawn Wood. I'm Regional Association Manager for Nova Management. I also have Christina Peterson here, who is the Vice President of Nova. And we also have Steve Bay, who is your homeowner board member. And then we have Karen Erickson from Taylor Morrison, who is declarant board member. And then we have Jennifer Mahaffey, who is your board president, also from Taylor Morrison, declarant board member. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that you can see the agenda. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Jennifer.
I was just scrolling through all the little thumbnails just to see how many people are. There's good attendance.
We do.
So yes, I will go ahead and formally call the meeting to order. Let's see, at 4:08. for Ovation at Oak Tree. Let's see. So I think the first item of business is to approve our last meeting minutes. We actually didn't have April's at the time, so we need to approve April 2022 and July 2022, which was in the board packet. So my fellow board member, Steve.
Right, so I move to approve both sets of minutes from both April and what was it, July?
Yes, July.
And I
All right,
second.
well, Karen seconds, so those will be approved and posted on the portal, just with all of our other meeting minutes. So I guess we just move right into that treasurer's order when she scrolls down here.
Yes.
There we go. Treasurer's report.
So many pages.
There we go.
Okay, so the September 2022 financial reports were emailed to the board on October the 13th, 2022. As of September 30th, 2022, the current account balances are total operating account assets at $770,714.26, checking account $25,634.14, savings account $723,383.74. Delinquency as of September 30th was 0, and owner accounts on file 260.
Wow. Great. So that's easy breezy. So then we go into our committee reports, and I believe I saw everyone on. So Richard, you're up first with the ACC committee. So let's see. Go ahead. If you can unmute yourself, or Don can unmute you. There we go.
Okay. All right. Well, this is my second year on the ACC committee, and it's the start of my new role as the committee chair. So just want to say thanks very much to Lorraine for all of her hard work the last 2 years, and big shoes to fill here in filling her role as the chair. So already in the first month of being the committee chair, I've had several discussions with Steve Bay, and what I learned from all that is Steve is really a great source of information and knowledge on the ACC committee. Steve, we're lucky to have a president who has been on the ACC committee in the past.
I appreciate the compliment, but remember, I'm not the president, but thank you very much.
Okay. So the ACC committee is a 5-member committee. 3 of us have started our second year, and then we have 2 new members of the committee who are starting their very first year. Recently, we have updated the standardizations, which are available on the Oak Tree homeowner website. I think they were updated probably about a week ago. And the frequently asked questions were also updated. And then on Monday this week, I had a meeting with Miriam Hewitt on Communications Committee, and really an interesting discussion. And the result of that led to another change that we've put out there. So if you're on the HOA website, and from the blue navigation column there on the left, if you click on the ACC documents and standardizations, you'll find a new section called Submitting Your Application. And in a way, this is very simple, but it had never really been spelled out right on that page before. The simple 5 steps you have to go through to electronically submit the form. I know a lot of people send everything to Dawn, and then Dawn has to go through these steps. So I'm sure some people know about this, but I'm sure there's probably a lot of people that don't. So just 5 simple steps there, and that's what you have to go through to get it done electronically. So at this time of the year, the ACC requests have really tapered off. There's really none out there right now for us to review. So we get a little bit of a break for a while, but I do encourage everyone to Whenever you do any kind of a project on the exterior of your home, take a look at the ACC standardizations because it's a very dynamic document. We've updated it many times. I think when I started on the committee, there were maybe 10 pages and now we've got 27 pages and it will continue to evolve. So take a look at that, and I think that will help you, give you some of the guidelines you need to follow depending on the type of project that you're doing. And I think basically that's about it.
Great. All right, so let me go to the landscape committee. Ed, is that you? You're muted.
That is. So hello, everyone. Got some good updates from the landscape committee. First off, I want to let everybody know that we have a new area supervisor, an employee of Monarch. Her name is Mitch McAllister, and she's helping us going through all of the work orders, going around, making sure that she is personally aware of all the requests. She's very enthusiastic, and we're really excited to be working with her. I think that's going to be a great addition to Monarch's team. Monarch, as most of you probably know, has now shut off the irrigation system, as they do typically. They're still working on a couple places, but everybody's front yard should be shut off by now. It will stay off until approximately April, when they will do a quick test of the system and then turn everything back on. They're also working with a Rainbird application. That's going to give them and us a little bit more control and a better view of what's going on with all the irrigation. So hopefully if there's any issues, we'll be able to spot them well ahead of time. I think everyone should have known by now that all the plant replacements should be finished. I do want to encourage anyone that needs plants to be replaced. They will be replaced in the spring. So please make sure to put your request in on the portal for a plant to be replaced, and that will be put on the schedule. Monarch is also working right now on putting together a list of tree replacements, and they should be done before the end of the month, we believe. So you'll see Monarch going around and taking out dead trees and replacing it with new ones. I also want to thank Miriam because she also updated our FAQ documents on the portal to make it a little bit easier to find. So great job, Miriam. We really appreciate the help. And I encourage everybody to take a look at the FAQs, give you an idea of what the landscape committee does and what you can look forward to as far as the regular maintenance of the landscape. Yard trimming, I've seen Monarch has been around all week, and they'll be continuing to trim the front yards and trim down the intersections. I think most of you should have noticed they did a pretty good trim on the entranceway, but they are continuing to trim down the medians and the front yards. Front yards will be done before Thanksgiving, so that everybody can put up their their holiday decorations without any concerns. Ironically, as Richard said, this is his first month as chairman, and ironically, I live next door, and this is my last month as chairman. So I really want to thank all the members that have been on the landscape committee. They all work very hard, walking around, trying to make sure that everything is green and clean and beautiful. So I really want to thank everybody's help. And the next chairman will be Gary Costanti. Most of you may know him. He lives down in the Colville area, and he's pretty well known. And he takes over next month as chairman. Last but not least, I just want to remind everybody that we have a snow plan. We're coming into winter. There's going to be frost. There's going to be snow. And we have a plan in place that the landscape committee and Steve Bay will make the call to get people out here. If it gets icy, Monarch will put ice remover around the pavilion and around the mailboxes. And then if we need to have the snow taken care of, we'll make that call as well. All the streets, though, are done by Thurston County. So just kind of keep that in mind. And with that, I thank everybody for your attention, and that's it.
Ed, on behalf of the board, I want to thank you. It's been a pleasure working with you on the landscape committee. We couldn't have done a lot without your assistance and your cool-headedness and your expertise in helping us get through some challenging things as we grow. So I really appreciate your time and your efforts that you've put into the community.
Well, thank you. We did get through the weeds, that's for sure.
Figuratively and literally, we'll always be there. I just want to piggyback on one thing. He did say the roads, and I think most of the people I recognize on the call might already know this, but all the roads are public except for the alleys. Alleys are HOA. So they're an HOA owned, so we get to decide if they're plowed, but we do not have any say on the public roads. Like Ed said, those are Thurston County. But Dawn also works with everyone who's in managing the snow plan. She sends out an e-blast with more detailed information on what is taken care of and what isn't and how that works. So more to come, but just a heads up as we head into November and December. So looks like Miriam is on board for communication.
Yep. Hi, everybody. I'm Miriam Hewitt, and I am a member of the Communication Committee. I have had the great pleasure of working with Rick and Ed and Dawn and other folks to keep the portal updated. And, you know, if you didn't participate in one of the last couple of board meetings where I did a little bit of a demo about how we've cleaned up some of the things on the portal, take a look at that, at those recordings to get oriented there. Because I think we've all been really doing a good job of making that easier to use. It's an awesome tool for all of us residents. It takes a little bit of learning, but once you get it, you know, the FAQs and these resource documents that people have been mentioning are all out there on the portal. So, so get more comfortable with that if you can. Just take a few minutes. I also want to let you know that the November-December issue of the newsletter is going to be coming out within the next few days. Probably Sunday or Monday, you'll see it distributed. We post it on the residents' Facebook page, and we also send it out to everybody as an attachment who's on the Communication Committee opt-in community email list. And then Dawn will have some printed, and they'll be available at the pavilion probably later next week. So you can pick up a printed copy there. We have in this coming issue, we have a preview of some of the holiday events that are happening within Ovation, as well as South Sound area holiday shopping and music and events, and some information about holiday giving programs that are being organized within the community. So look for that, as well as some fun interviews with residents and other good stuff. One of the things I wanted to emphasize for this meeting is, and Dawn, you've let me share my screen here, I think. I want to talk a little bit about the Ovation Nation Handbook that the Communication Committee has created. And I know we've talked a little bit about this before, but just a reminder, it is a really, I hope, helpful tool for you that kind of pulls a lot of tidbits of information all into one document. And it is located under the More Documents and Handbook tab here on the blue side of the portal. And you always have to remember, when you go to this documents list, it doesn't necessarily show you exactly what you want right to start with. You've got to click on the exact folder that you want to look at. But we have the full handbook and then a couple of sections. There's a contact section and the committees, just to show you the contacts. You know, there's really like every contact you'd ever want and how and when to contact them. Taylor Morrison. I've worked with Jennifer and Don and Steve to refine, you know, these instructions for how you contact the board of directors. Another thing, because I recently just posted some updates just yesterday, and this is one of the reasons I'm bringing this up, is we've also refined, you know, like, for example, Ed talked about submitting a request if you have a dead plant, and Rick talked about submitting your ACC applications. We have step-by-step instructions in this handbook as to how to submit those kinds of requests. So if you forget, this document can be a good resource. You can download the PDF, save it on your device, or maybe even print it out or print the pages that you think are going to be relevant to you. It's about 14 pages long now, or 15 pages, so it might be a lot to print, but you can figure out the things that you think are important to you to print. I think that these contact pages would be at the beginning, would be a really great resource for people to download and have on hand. Instead of having to go searching various places for some of these things. And, you know, we even have some the utilities, and helpful things that, you know, we add to this based on the kinds of questions that come up from residents that we see maybe talked about on the Facebook page or that we hear about. So I think that's really about all I wanted to discuss. Unless anybody has any questions at the end, when you open it up, I would be happy to answer questions.
Great. Thank you. All right. And then I saw Jeannie. Pavilion Committee is next. Here she always takes a. I don't know if she can unmute. Dawn.
Here I am.
There you are.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jeannie Reeder. Good afternoon. I love hearing the work that Miriam does on the portal, because it is really such an amazing place to get all the information that you really need. So I encourage you, if you're not using the portal or you don't feel comfortable with it, to just reach out to a neighbor or one of the committee members here, and we can help you with that. I don't have a lot. I wanted to just talk about our pavilion and how wonderful it is to have it. We had a lot of private events during the month of October. November and December are filling up. So if you have a get-together, a luncheon, a committee meeting that you want to get to, I advise you to sign up quickly. And you can do that on the portal now. So you can do your reservations on the portal. Makes it much easier. I know Dawn will appreciate it, instead of having to hand off all these things to her. So we're real happy that that's there. Just a few housekeeping issues. Pretty much everyone is doing a great job with being at the pavilion, having a private event and leaving it pretty spiffy when we're all done. But there are some things that we just wanted to touch on, especially with in regard to the clubs and smaller get-togethers there, that you just put everything back kind of the way you found it, drag the chairs and tables back into their order, and wipe off any fingerprints off the tables, and food that you may leave on the counters or in the refrigerator, to take that with you. So just using a good neighbor policy, as Bill Smiley likes to say. We should treat this as our second living room, only a little larger, I guess. See, what else did I have? We're doing some winterizing, which is kind of tidying up the area, putting the cushions, bringing the cushions in so they don't get too wet or frozen or start to disintegrate, and also taking care of the barbecue area. We did have one instance with the barbecue where somebody grilled some fish and left scales on the barbecue grill itself, and that was unfortunate because the committee or the private event coming after that had to like kind of clean up. And if anybody's ever done fish on a barbecue, you know, it's not something you want to cook your burgers on right after. So just following the good neighbor policy of keeping it clean and beautiful. And we've got a ways to go before we can use that village. So we want to enjoy it while we can. There is a Halloween potluck coming up on the 31st, and some really other nice events that we should all look forward to. And so just keep your eyes open for those things, and I hope you enjoy them. This is my last meeting as the chair of this committee. We do have another chairman who has come forward. That's Dan Batman. Those of you that live on Eagledale may know him, and he's got a committee of 5. And Bill Smiley, Carol Jade, and I are going to stay on as advisory members for a while so we can help that committee get off to a good start. And if anybody's interested in joining that committee, please chat with Dawn. Let her know. It's really fun, and we've had a great time. And so thank you to all the committee members and all of you that have helped. I really have enjoyed it.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeannie. And actually, on that note, I got to thinking we will need more people because eventually we'll have the villages as well. So we'll definitely want either a separate committee or a subcommittee. We'll figure that out, but we'll definitely need more people to help learn that facility as it gets constructed, finished, and delivered to the HOA. So
Absolutely.
keep that in mind as well. It takes a village to run a village, figuratively and literally.
That's true.
Very true. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Once again, thank you for all your efforts and everything that you've done. I really feel like we have so many great homeowners in this community contributing their time and their efforts and their passion for maintaining the community. And it's really great. And it shows.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So we're on to, it looks like manager's report with our annual calendar and vendor updates.
Yes, and just to
Dawn.
piggyback off of Jennifer, I want to thank Lorraine, who just stepped down from the ACC committee. Thank you so much. And thank you, Ed, so much. I know his last day, I believe, is December 1st. And then thank you to Jeannie as well. You guys have been amazing, and I'm so grateful for you. So onward to the annual calendar and vendor information. Pavilion cleaning service. Inside the pavilion, Service Master cleans 3 days of the week, and that is Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And they're usually there super late, like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. So you might not see them unless you have a private event or you're in the gym working out late. So that's when they are there. They also do the patio, but they only do that seasonally. So they're not cleaning the outside patio at this time, just during usually June, July, and August and September is when they do that cleaning. The pavilion windows are, we have a quarterly contract for that, and they were last cleaned October the 18th. Bug Busters performed their quarterly contracted service on October the 24th. Precor Pacific Fitness delivered a new cyber cycle, and that was installed in August. From the HOA landscaper, Ed did a fabulous job discussing Mitch as our new lead at Monarch. And they do post updates weekly, and I just copy and paste those and put those under the announcement section. And so I do ask that homeowners check those for the weekly updates first. And also a reminder to report work orders directly to management. Either you can do that via resident request, or you can do that via email. Irrigation, as Ed mentioned, was shut down. They still have, you know, with construction going on and everything, they still have access. They haven't winterized it yet, and they're still installing that rainbird. So they haven't completely shut it down, but you're not going to see irrigation going on in the yards.
Hey, Dawn.
Yes.
Do you mind actually just giving everyone on the call just a brief, like a brief summary of what the rainbird system is? Because I know we've mentioned it. I'm sure people don't know.
Yes. So the rainbird system is something that can be tracked online, and it will have, it's actually Monarch is going through and mapping all of the irrigation system, both the drip and the irrigation that's in the yards. And they're also doing it by street, because normally they just set it up by zones, but we have such a big community that just doing it by zones is not going to cut it. It's got to be done by street. And so if there's a problem, like a break or something is going wrong, as you know, all the irrigation is tied in together. So if there's a problem, this would be able to detail where that problem is, which is going to be super helpful. So we don't have one person from Monarch running around trying to figure out where a break is. And so we'll be able to see that. They'll be able to train myself and the landscape committee so that we will all be able to view this program.
And FYI, this is not a cost to the association. This was something that Taylor Morrison funded for the association, because I know we're all very cost conscious.
Yes, thank you.
Mhm.
The yards, as Ed mentioned, the yards, they have started the cutting and they will be done on Thanksgiving Eve, because I know a lot of you want to go ahead and put out your holiday decorations just like I do on Thanksgiving. And so we don't want anybody to have to worry about their lights or whatever being cut. So we did ask Monarch again this year to have that completely done by Thanksgiving Eve. Then they've started a little bit on the common areas, mostly like intersections and the drive-in. But they will be doing the bulk of that common area between now and between the first of the year. But we do want to get the yards trimmed first. And so the tree order has been, it has been added by Monarch. It hasn't been placed yet, but it has been added, and they're sending over a bid to us so that the landscape committee can look at it, the board can look at it, and then that will begin to be replaced shortly. The updated annual 2022 annual calendar is on the portal under documents. The next new homeowner orientation is scheduled with myself and Takara on November 10th at 11 a.m. And that's usually about an hour. And so if you want to come down, I mean, we welcome all brand new homeowners, but we've had a couple of homeowners that have lived there for about a year and they just want to come down and see what it's about. And so that's perfectly fine as well. It's at 11 a.m. We also have orientation recordings that are available for viewing on the Oak Tree YouTube page. So that link is also on the portal and has all of our how-tos tutorials on there, as well as the orientation recordings. So voting for the 2023 Oak Tree proposed budget is going to open on Tuesday, November the 8th at 9 a.m. and it's going to end on Tuesday, November 15th at 9 a.m. I am going to make myself available at the Pavilion on Thursday, November 10th, all day from 9 to 5 to assist in person. Homeowners can vote just like you did when you voted for the first homeowner board member using the portal tab elections. I am going to, as soon as it is all set up on the back end, I'm going to be recording a Zoom video so that you will also have that tutorial so that you can watch that. It's a super easy process. For those of you guys who voted in the homeowner board member election, you can recall you just go on the portal, go to the menu item under elections, click on it, and it just says, it has your options right there. So you can go ahead and pick, I approve the budget or I reject the budget. And so again, I'll be doing a in-depth tutorial, which will be posted. I'll e-blast it out and also be one of our YouTube tutorials. But if you need additional help, the solutions team will be available by phone. I'll be available by phone, and then I'll make myself available on November 10th to give additional assistance to anybody who needs that. And speaking of the YouTube tutorials, many of those have been completed. They are on the Oak Tree YouTube page. The link is on the portal, and they can be found under links. If you go to the section that says links, you can find where that link is to the Oak Tree YouTube page. As per the Oak Tree Board and Reserve Specialist, the Oak Tree Reserve Fund is now fully funded at $263,024.41. And then for updates and reminders for board and homeowners portal updates, there are 460 registered emails for members on file. And as far as reports, the ACC notes report, work order, account details, violation, and association reports were included for the board, and subscription reports can be sent to board and to committees as needed. So Jennifer, I'll go ahead and.
Okay, so the next thing we have is our new business. So obviously the 2023 budget mailer has gone out, and you just spoke to the voting process in your manager report. I believe I see a couple of the budget advisory group members on the call. Does anyone want to add to this? Mary? I don't know if I see everyone else.
Williams.
I'll make a quick comment,
Oh,
and
there he is.
then Mary can chime in if there's anything she would like to add. Well, hello, everyone. Just want to kind of wrap, as we're wrapping up our 5 months worth of work. We worked for 5 months on the budget. We had very productive meetings and discussions with the board. We negotiated with the board and came to the conclusion of a budget that we feel good about, quite honestly. That given the financial situation we're all in and the world is in these days, we feel very good about it. So we've submitted that video. At this point, 186 of you have watched it.
Oh.
To me, that tells me there's nearly 500 people in the community. There's a whole bunch of people who have not watched it. We held a office hour. We only had a handful of people show up to ask us questions. So, in many ways, our work is kind of winding down and wrapping up. So I'm going to make a request and ask for the help of the people that are on this call today. Two things. Number one, we put quite a bit of time into the budget review video. That's 22 minutes worth of content. We put quite a bit of time into the August video that lays out a lot of the logic of how we came to the decisions and made the choices that our recommendations we made. So there's a lot out there for you that we ask you, if you have not looked at that yet, please go look at that. It may not answer every single question you have, but it probably will give you a whole lot better understanding of how we arrived at the final recommendations we made. Here's the second thing I want to ask is, so I only had a handful show up at the office hours. And so the other method we gave you was we asked you to, if you have questions, submit them into the portal. In the resident request, there's a budget advisory group. Submit your request there. We're kind of wrapped up with our job, but we want to, if you have questions, we want to answer them for you. But we can't do that if you don't ask us. So if you have questions, please submit them on the portal so we can answer those for you. If you are talking with a neighbor and they say, I don't understand this, I don't understand that, here's my request of you. Please, number one, ask them to go watch the video, okay? Doesn't explain everything. You can't. You guys don't want to listen to me for 2 hours. It's bad enough for 22 minutes. But also then go put a request on the portal, because we want to provide the answers to any questions you have, but we can't answer them if you don't ask. So that's all I want to report on. Mary Alice, anything you would like to add to that?
I'm actually going to piggyback because William pretty much said what I wanted to say. Yeah, please.
Great minds think alike.
Yeah, you actually pretty much said what I was going to reiterate. So thank you. And just so they only had a handful come to their office hours. We've only actually had four questions submitted. I know there's a lot more out there. So we, and that way you get a personalized response. We can clearly address your actual specific questions. So, and as William said, we are kind of wrapping up, and please utilize the tools that they've already provided. Our budget advisory group has not that I think the board had like major expectations, but I can't thank them enough for how much time and effort and conscientious thinking and working through the numbers and having really good conversations and dialogue and frankly being open to hearing what we have to say and vice versa. It's been truly like amazing to work with you guys. I don't know if I saw John on the call, but yeah, I mean, it's a little sad to see you go a little bit, but I realize that you have lives as well. And probably want to stop talking and say the word budget. But anyway, once again, on behalf of the board and Karen and Steve, please feel free to chime in, but like, thank you. I think what you've done has been immensely important for the community and so valuable that, yeah, it's from my heart. I'm like, thank you.
It was
So,
a team effort.
yes, it was, but really appreciate everything that you guys have done. Okay, well, oh yeah, we had a rules and regulations update. It was very minor. That is also posted on the portal. I believe Dawn sent out an e-blast with that too. That was actually a while ago. I've been so swimming in the budget, I actually don't remember what the update was, but it was very minor. Had to do with Pavilion, I believe. That's what it was. It was Pavilion rules and regulation update. So just a minor update there. Like Dawn said in her management report, our reserve account is fully funded. This is also a number, like she said, it's based off of our individual reserve study done by a reserve analyst. So we are fully funded, which is a great place to be, especially as William mentioned, in our economy today. And then Takara is actually out of office this week. So Dawn will be providing her lifestyle update.
Yes.
And before we get to that, actually, Dawn, I forgot, oh, never mind. I'll save it for the Taylor Morrison section.
Okay. So Takara's on a much deserved vacation for the week. So she asked me to read her lifestyle report. She's ramping up and doing a lot of planning for exciting activities, as Jeannie was saying. Don't forget about the Halloween potluck and costume contest on Monday, the 31st. And Takara will be back on Monday, starting at 4 p.m. Voting will be between 4 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. with the winners announced at 6 p.m. Save the date. The Ovation at Oak Tree Holiday Party is going to be on December 16th. That's a Friday. More details to come. RSVP will be required for this event. 2 new clubs, the Ovation Music Club, which meets on Fridays at 2. Please bring an instrument or piece of music to share with the group. All are welcome. Also, a men's bridge club will have their first meeting on Friday, October 28th at 1 p.m. to discuss dates and times to play. The calendar for November and December is filling up fast. If you have a private event that you would like to host in the pavilion, please send your request form to Takara as soon as possible. And again, she is back in the office on Monday.
Great, thanks, Dawn. So the holiday
Cool.
party, there definitely will more to come on this. RSVP will be required because it is a much more elaborate event. There will be no cost associated to you as a member. This is part of what your lifestyle budget item is part of and what comes out of that. So it would definitely be probably the most elaborate event that Takara will have put on. She's been quite frugal throughout the year. So we have an opportunity to have a really nice holiday party for the community. But it gives you a kind of an idea and a sampling of what's to come in the future, especially with the villages and more facilities to have more events. Let's see. So Taylor Morrison update. I forgot to add during the pavilion update when Jeannie was speaking. The pavilion will be receiving an updated, more of a commercial level coffee machine. Also not at a cost to the association. Taylor Morrison has purchased this. It's a little bit delayed. It's on back order, but it'll definitely like be more than one. You can do a cup, you can do more than a cup. It'll help facilitate, your events and clubs that serve coffee or want coffee while you're in the pavilion. So that is to come. And then, let's see, we do have a special guest, kind of as a last minute thing, but we do have another Taylor Morrison colleague on the call today. I'm going to introduce, let Brent Palmer speak, but he is your warranty service manager. So he's just going to speak briefly about warranty. I saw him on the call earlier. So Brent, if you can unmute yourself and introduce yourself.
I am unmuted.
Oh, there you are. And actually, Dawn, can you maybe not share the screen so then we see more thumbnails? So people who, there we go. So then Brent can wave and there he is. Brent's in the middle of my screen. So
I just wanted to I wanted to introduce myself. This is the first time I've ever sat in on a board meeting like this, and it's been very informative. So it's pretty cool to see what you all are doing. So I'm Brent Palmer, and I've been the warranty service manager now for about 3 months. So I'm pretty new to the position. I'm not new to the company. I've been with the company for about 7 years, so I'm very familiar with the warranty. I just wanted to briefly kind of go over, and I'm not sure if it's already on your HOA customer portal, but how to get service for warranty service. We do have a homeowners customer portal through Taylor Morrison to open a warranty request. That's at taylormorrison.com, and on the toolbar under homeowners, you click there, and then there's 3 different sections there. So one is how to set up your portal if you have not done that before. The second one is to submit a warranty request. And then the third one is maintenance videos and how-to videos of how you can maintain some of the different things in your home. So our warranty now is a 1-year, 2-year, 10-year warranty. So I believe most of you have that, unless you've been in your house for 2 or 3 years and have the old warranty from Polygon that is the 3 years. So the 1-2-10 warranty is the 1 year is your kind of the settling type issues that happen in a home with drywall cracks and nail pops and that kind of stuff. The 2-year is on the systems inside of the wall. So your plumbing pipes, your electrical lines, your HVAC ducting. That does not cover the appliances. So those are through the manufacturer. And then the 10-year is the structural. So that's any load-bearing components of the home that fail within that 10-year time period. So if you do have any concerns about your home, you'd always want to go to the easiest way to do that is to go through the customer portal at taylormorrison.com. And if it's not already on your customer portal for your HOA, then I'll get with Jennifer and Dawn and see if we can get that on there. So a great way for everyone to know how to get a hold of us if they have a concern inside of their home.
Brent, I think we're already 1 step ahead of you. I believe we do have a link to the Taylor Morrison warranty website.
We do, but I'm super excited about the videos.
Yeah, definitely. So, and then also I noticed that you're starting to upload documents into the homeowner portal for the HOA. If help with more information or documents pertaining to the home for maintenance and stuff like that, then we could probably help with that as well. So
I'd love that. Thank you.
I would recommend that you, I mean, if you can send them to Dawn, or you can do it to the board portal tab too, but sending that directly to me would be really helpful if you have my contact, or you can see the contact sheet, because then I can get it right to Brent and the warranty team.
Definitely. Well, thanks for letting me speak a little bit. And I like to come down to the neighborhood as much as possible and help Mike out. I know it's been a rough couple of years. He's had about 4 times the amount of workload that he was having before the pandemic. So I'm trying to get down there as much as possible to help him out to get through it. So, so if you see me, then just wave.
Thanks, Brent. Appreciate it.
Thanks. I got to jump off. Bye, everyone.
All right, bye. All right, so trying to think what else we had. So we did have a couple of out of the few homeowners that did submit questions and reached out about the budget. We're not going to have a major in-depth conversation, but there was 2 commonalities that came up, and one of them was for those that did read through the detailed version of the budget. There was one line item in particular that stood out to people, and it was the one that said YMCA. And what does that mean? So I'll just go ahead and just answer that for the people that on this call. We did answer those individual homeowners who asked this question, but I'm sure a few of you may have this question as well. So basically that line item, which is right now budgeted for $12,000, it's for wellness and fitness instruction or instructors, similar but not necessarily the same or associated with YMCA classes. That was actually just a title to hold a placeholder So I think moving forward, we're going to find a more appropriate name for that line item, just so there's not confusion. But the intent was that majority of the wellness and fitness instruction would not be a cost to an association member. But if there's a particular specialty class or instructor, there could potentially be a small fee associated to those specialty items, but the bulk of any fitness instruction would come out of this line item. So just wanted to kind of clarify that.
Jennifer, this is William. May I
Yeah.
add just one little additional
Sure.
comment to this?
Sure.
Because I almost shared a slide on this, but I decided for time not to.
Okay.
So here's the way I look at it. I will probably never, ever take a group fitness class, right? But guess what? By having that budget, by all of us pitching in, then my neighbors don't have to take $10 up to go to join a class. And guess what it cost us? It's less than $1 a month. Is less than $1 per month in the monthly fees. And now we've got that available for everyone.
Yeah, great. Thanks. All right. And the other one came up was the capital contribution. So there's a couple of nuances to this one. The capital contribution that is that $4,800 that was collected at closing, one-time initial fee. That actually is not a number that is managed by the HOA. It's also not a number that's tied to your HOA budget. And totally understand how one might think, oh, well, our assessment originally was $200. It's $200 times 12 times 2 years equals $4,800. Yes, it's a little bit of a coincidence. It wasn't tied to that. So the current capital contribution is staying at $4,800. That is a number that is managed by the seller. So that would be Taylor Morrison. I have had conversations with the team about possibly and potentially increasing that number. We've discussed it, and currently it's going to stay at 4,800. We want to stay very competitive in a kind of a challenging market. So that is not something that we're going to move the needle on right now, but it's not a permanent no. So it can be reassessed at another date and time. And if there is an ability to increase it and it works for all, obviously that would be something that we would all want to take into consideration. But the capital contribution is not an HOA managed number or figure. So hopefully that helps clarify. I know that tends to be a little bit of a cloudy one for people. So those were the two out of the 4 questions, but that also came up in Mary Alice shared that in her office hours. That actually came up a few times as well. Same with the YMCA. So those were the 2 hot burning topics. Please use the budget advisory group tab if you have any additional questions. We would greatly appreciate that, and we would go ahead and get you a response. Let's see, I don't really have anything other than I know that there's a lot of concrete work being done. I know it's a nuisance, not gonna lie. That is part of bond work. Bond work is a part of the construction process, and this is pretty much status quo for any construction projects within the state of Washington. For things like public road improvements and that the city and or county pretty much makes us do in the process of developing out a community. Basically, once they're bonded, and correct me if I'm wrong, Karen, they start off as a performance bond, and then eventually after installation, they go to a maintenance bond. And that's where the county basically sort of at a certain point before they take full acceptance, they go and mark what they want to see adjusted, fixed, maintained, and then we kind of have no choice and we execute their punch list, and then they fully sign off on those type of improvements. So that's why you're seeing a lot of curbs, some sidewalk replacements, some cutting. I understand it's noisy. It's not fun to see all the spray paint marks on the community. Moving forward, hopefully that'll be done sooner rather than later. So we do apologize for the little bit of the impact that it's having on the community, but it is part of the process. And Div 1 should be done soon, and then they're going to start on Div 2, and they'll get done with that as soon as they can. So hopefully there'll be a little bit of a reprieve for Div 3, because obviously it's not built out yet. So that is that. I don't have any other notes. Karen, did I miss something? No, we good? Okay, she's nodding, we're good. All right, Steve, did I miss anything that we talked about? Okay, perfect. I'm just feeling a little foggy brain, so just gotta check. I guess this is, if anyone has any questions, go ahead and pop them in the chat. Cheryl, I saw you raised your hand. So, we'll go
Do you
ahead
want
and
me
get.
to write my question in the chat, or do you want me to verbalize it?
No, you can go ahead and verbalize it. I just didn't want you to think that I did not see you raise your hand.
Yes, thank you. So my question has to do with the reserves fully funded. What does that mean? Is that different from the cash position discussion that the budget committee had in their excellent video? Are those different things?
Yeah, they're different things, Cheryl. So we have a reserve study, and that's done by law once a year. And it gives us the recommended amount of money we should have on hand for replacement of facility expenditures, like a new roof or repaving of alleys or things like that. It's normally the big ticket items. And so we wanted to make sure that was fully funded to the amount of about $250,000. So we made a transfer from the operating account to the reserve account. Does that answer your question?
Does that then lessen our operating account going forward?
Yes. Yeah, we took money from operating to fully fund the reserve. I think, and they can correct me on this, we adjust it about this time of year every year. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And the other questions I had, where was the videos for the budget advisory group? And so those were e-blasted out. So you should be able to see those if you go into the portal and go to your e-blast. You can either look there, or you can go under the links menu tab, and there is the YouTube page. So all the tutorials are there, including having the budget advisory groups videos are also there.
Cheryl, did you raise your hand again?
No,
Actually, Gina did.
it's me.
Oh, okay, Gina did.
Hi. This has been a great discussion today. Thank you.
Oh.
In the interest of further strengthening our community, perhaps now's the time to solicit membership in a villages planning committee. Using a similar process to our very successful budget committee, who demonstrated we have smart, caring, and capable residents. The stakeholders could work in partnership with Taylor Morrison and Evergreen to ensure the villages reflect the needs and sensibilities of Ovation residents. With your approval, interested residents could submit resumes, the board could select an appropriate number, and the committee could begin meeting after the first of the year in order to have meaningful and informed input prior to the impending opening. We've learned from our Pavilion experience that many points of view are necessary to make informed choices, and many invested residents can build success when they work together. As you said, it takes a village to build a village.
Yes, so do you mind sending that over an email? Because I would need to share that with the internal TM team, because I would want to make sure we all have accurate and informed expectations on what, to be honest, what we can and can't, and what we do and don't have input on. So that way we all know exactly where we can make impact and what's already kind of maybe locked in.
I'll be happy to send that off to you.
Totally
but based on our Pavilion experience, maybe we could make some decisions beforehand instead of reacting afterward.
100%, but like I said, I want to make sure we have correct expectations, because I want to make sure that there's going to be some things we can and some things we can't. And so
absolutely,
that's a healthy thing for us to do. So if you don't mind sending that over either through Dawn, she can get it to me, not a problem. But that would be helpful and a tool for my internal conversations with our team.
Thank you.
We are working, yeah, sure. We are working with the Taylor Morrison Esplanade team. With Esplanade means is our active, whether it be active or just general lifestyle, resort style living. So they have a lot of expertise and experience. And if you actually look at the Taylor Morrison website, I believe you can actually see other communities and what some of the larger, more, I hate to say it, more like Florida based ones. So they do have a lot of experience, and they do have a lot of experience with 55 and plus.
Yeah, we're aware of all that.
Yeah, well, there's other people on the call that might not be, so super helpful. Great great dialogue. So Annie, I saw your hand next. You're muted, unfortunately. It always takes a second.
On my iPad. Okay, got it.
There we go.
I have a
I
question
was
for the
seeing if I could
pavilion.
do it.
I'm not on an iPad. I'm looking at
That's okay.
the portal on the iPad. I have a question about the pavilion. The other day, we tried to get the fireplace working. It didn't work. Then we went out to try the fire pit and
Now,
it also didn't work. And we didn't know who to call. So we, of course, Bill Smiley lives next door. However, there should be some kind of an emergency call. I mean, it was a Sunday and there smelled like gas and someone could have walked by with a cigarette and blew up. There's really no place on the portal where you can actually talk to somebody. It's all go on the portal and look for all these things and then where's the emergency? And it should be simpler than that. And I just think we need to do something about that.
Well, actually, we do have that resource and I'll let Dawn actually speak to that.
We do have an after hours. I just ask that it be a true emergency because I get a lot
this
of calls
case.
on the weekend that it is not. I did just have Wayne the handyman out and he apparently it was a breaker and Bill confirmed that for the fireplace. It was working. There was no gas. It was just a breaker that had gone out and the fire pit is working. It just has, you have to unlock it. It is secured.
But Dawn, so yeah, if it's like in this case, Annie, since you smell gas, the after hours solution team, that's part of what you pay with your management fee is there. So if there is a true emergency, you go ahead and call them. They will be reaching out to our team, which is Christina, Dawn.
And what number is that? Is that 206 number?
Annie, I can send that to you. It's posted on the portal. It's the solutions, the after hours emergency, which is posted on the portal in several places.
So she can send it to you though.
Again, it doesn't say that. And I know that my neighbors have no idea how to use the portal. I try to help them, but it's difficult because even like when I'm trying to request a request, there's no, it says save it. There's no save anywhere on it to say save. The question, you know, some of the information isn't there for people that aren't very familiar with computers. So just two things, emergencies and how to, you say different words, but they're not there to do. So,
well, and this is where the communications committee has been, and Miriam has been very pivotal and working on this. So that's good feedback. We can always look at that. She was actually, we met yesterday and we discussed possibly like having classes on this. We realize that not everyone is as tech savvy. And the solution is we're trying to utilize all the tools that we have at our hand, as opposed to like, oh, we'll just design a new website, because we've had various different, you know, options of feedback on this. So not a perfect situation, but we appreciate your feedback. We'll look into that and make sure, you know, anything that's a true emergency after hours is clear. And maybe Dawn can e-blast that out on a, you know, occasionally now and then we can share, you know, that type of information. So yeah, good feedback.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Anyone, I didn't see anything pop up in the chat.
Yeah,
I don't know about you, but I'm getting hungry.
Yeah.
If
And
there
then
aren't,
I do have a question. And I will send this to you as well as email if you'd like me to post meeting. So my question has to do with the ways that Ovation goes forward to make the healthiest decisions and to ensure clarity of our goals in the community. For instance, I asked this question of the budget committee, and this really wasn't in their purview, so I understand. But please help us understand the Taylor Morrison decision to cap the declarant contribution at the 33% build out point, and with no future contributions to the HOA cash position. Yet you guys retain majority authority over all HOA budgets and expenses for at least the next 2 years. Taylor Morrison, in effect, has much less skin in the game going forward. So it's kind of gives the appearance that the declarant is either washing their hands of responsibility for the fiscal condition of the HOA, or maybe you guys have made, as a point of encouragement to residents to take on a greater leadership role in the building of a successful and sustainable community. So we've seen in the last couple of years, or maybe the last year, our journey of involvement via the pathfinding role from Steve Bay as our excellent resident board member. And then the outstanding work done by the Resident Budget Committee has created a successful kind of learning trajectory as residents experience the realities of creating this community in a healthy way. So these conditions taken together, the capping of the declarant, or the capping of money into the HOA by the declarant, and this kind of uptick in resident involvement makes me ask, is it time to revisit our covenants regarding resident representation on the HOA board and accelerate resident authority? Thank you for the opportunity to comment, and I look forward to further conversation and sincerely appreciate everything that everybody is doing for this community.
So Cheryl, go ahead and send that to me, because that's going to require a much more thought out, in-depth response. There's a lot of things that you've touched on, and there's a lot of things that require a little bit more explanation that will take time.
Sure,
So
sure.
more, and it's something that we probably can share as well. So we'll
Sure.
definitely take that into consideration.
And so Jennifer, beyond you, would you like me to send it like to you and CC Karen and Steve, Dawn?
Just send it to Dawn, because then it goes to the whole board.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good. Thank you, will do.
Yeah, we would prefer that, because then it goes to the whole board, which then, Steve's aware, and he's part of it, even though he's not necessarily responding to a lot of it. He is part of that dialogue, and then Karen and I as TM, employees will address that.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
that's a lot of Taylor Morrison loaded. I'll do what I can, but yeah.
Yeah, but you're a part of the board, so we
Sure.
keep you.
No, I want to
in
see it.
that-
Yeah.
that loop, so yeah. Okay. Well, all right, well, I guess I will formally adjourn the meeting at 5:10. Looks like our next meeting is the budget ratification meeting, November 16th, once again at 4 p.m. So we will see you then.
Thank you, everyone.
Great, thank you.